We are here live in the Chi, and it's not just the Native Land Pod today. We are joined by Charlamagne Tha God. It is a Breakfast Club team moment.
Peace, Angela Rye, Andrew Gillum, Tiffany Cross. What's happening?
What's happening,
welcome.
guys?
I guess you can welcome us, but welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do y'all say? What do y'all say? Welcome home.
Welcome home,
Welcome
y'all.
home.
Welcome home, y'all. Put that Southern twang on it. I have to say, I feel super live. I still am high off Michelle Obama's remarks last night.
Was it Michelle?
Yes.
What's wrong?
I thought
He said, was it Michelle?
I thought you were trying to say you were smoking weed or something.
See how you try to put me on blast?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, he definitely.
Native Land Pod know me. They know what I do.
Hey,
Anyway.
Hey, I ain't throwing shame. I'm just saying.
Not throwing shame or throwing shade.
Shame.
Day 3,
Okay.
Angela.
Day 3,
Yes.
and your highlight was Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Her high.
Angela and I got to tell them, like we talked about, that Andrew left us. Well, Bakari left us, depending on
I know,
how you
depending
call
on
him.
who he is.
Yeah.
Don't start Andrew. So you know they be saying that Andrew and
Twins.
Bakari are the same
Absolutely.
person.
I
It's
see it all
so
the time.
crazy.
Lord
Anyway,
mercy.
it was an amazing night last night. Leonard, I don't know if you watched.
I
but
did.
It was. So Angela and I both thought that she was the closer.
It wasn't
She
even
was
close.
the closer.
Yeah.
The audacity of President Obama to go after Michelle Obama. Like, he should have absolutely
bad
been the
idea.
opener. It wasn't even close. And listen, President Obama is an amazing speaker. But last night, compared to Michelle, he just seemed kind of mid.
Yeah.
Well, so I said this. I think we have an audience here again, guys.
Yes.
So there are people walking by, seeing us that you can't see.
Yes.
But I said that I need to watch President Obama's speech again later.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to make the comparison so quickly after Michelle Obama. It's like anybody who tries to speak after LaTosha Brown last night. You know,
Yeah.
she is such a gifted speaker, and she was so impassioned. And when we got off the air last night, we asked, 4 years ago or 8 years ago, she said, when they go low, we go high. Will she abide by that? And last night, she did not.
She
No, she
did
didn't.
not.
She went
y'all
Michelle
in
Obama.
advance yesterday that it was too personal.
Yes.
And that's why I thought, I said I was looking most forward to her, but I don't think we have to make the comparison between the two speeches. We're inevitably going to do it, but they had two different jobs.
They did.
The problem is...
But they did a joint endorsement. I don't know that it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of last night, they had two different jobs.
I don't know if I agree with that.
The problem is he was the good cop, and the good cop doesn't follow the bad cop.
That's right. That is
Well,
exactly
but
right.
I don't know that she was the bad cop. I think that she was the truth-telling cop.
She was more truth to power with it. And President
I like that.
Obama was still like in politician mode. I'm like, you're not running for nothing. You can speak truth to power.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with y'all. I know I'm probably going to get dragged
Roland
again.
Martin, we
But
see you.
Roland, we love you.
What's up, Ro?
The thing that I will say that I'm probably going to get dragged for again in real time is I feel like I didn't even like when he said, yes, she can. Like, it felt like everything had to be about him. It had to be about his way of doing things. It had to be 2008. It had to be when I was working on these homeowners, whatever it was, I can't remember, the homeowners policies, and he was like, Kamala pushed my administration, and then we did X, Y, Z. That was even problematic to me, that, like, why can't she just have her moment? Why can't you just talk about all of her accomplishments? Why does it have to be in your vein, in your light? Yeah, like, why?
I get it, but...
Sorry, y'all. I know y'all about to drag me, but I love y'all. It's family size.
Who is y'all?
They be dragging me in the comments.
Oh, you mean
chat.
the internet?
You also said, Angela, that you thought that
He is sacred, Tiff,
on
for some.
Monday that the president should have given her more shine. And I told Tiffany, we were off air, and I said he gave her all the shine that was necessary on that fateful Sunday when he said, I'm out, and by the way, ... She
Nah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I expected.
I mean, I just feel like if people are saying she's been in obscurity for so long, then you have to let people know all of the ways that she shined where y'all didn't necessarily enable her to shine.
I don't think that was President Biden's job
But
last night.
President Biden did.
Biden didn't talk last night.
Saying
When did he talk?
On Monday.
Monday. I don't think. No, he was talking about Biden. Were you talking about? Yeah.
but
That
in
was
Biden's-
Monday.
but in
Monday night.
Biden's speech,
I'm still high off Michelle Obama.
I'm still sleepy from Monday night because they had him speak way too late. Why
Yeah,
they had
that
him
was
pass his
late.
bedtime like that?
Everybody was late.
ran past there talking.
Everybody, when they go
talked
over
past
them 2-minute speeches. You guys, I do want to know, was there a particular line from Michelle Obama? It sounds like everybody's favorite was Michelle Obama. Was there a particular line?
The escalator to the top of the
Wasn't
mountain.
that good? Unaffirmative
That was a
action?
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good wording. What she say? Affirmative action for what was it?
For those who fail.
For generational wealth.
yeah.
Yeah, that was that.
Affirmative
Yeah,
action
yeah.
of generational
But it
wealth.
was better than a quip. She hit, it was so multidimensional. When you start to pull that statement apart, it gave us life because it hit different audiences differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what she intended. It was a double, triple, quadruple entendre because it hit folks right where they stood in their own lived experience.
Yeah.
Written speech-wise,
I thought it was great, and she was able to like address her blackness and black people without turning off the white electorate. You know what I mean?
Because she has been who
you know
she
what
is.
it came across to me as that she did not care who it turned
That's
off.
right.
She operated
there
in
you
her, the conviction of her beliefs. She delivered, someone tweeted that this was the second time the Secret Service failed an assassination attempt of Donald Trump because she assassinated.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Obviously, we're not condoning violence or encouraging anyone to do an assassination attempt, but it was allegory. It was symbolic of what they were saying. And I just thought the line that I liked the most is when she said, when we meet a mountain, we do not have an escalator to carry us to the top.
That's right.
And the cable news media has called it zingers. And I just think that's such a miss because it's not zingers for us. This is our lived experience in this country
so true too.
As black people, more specifically as black women, at a time when all we have poured into this country, a black woman has ascended to the highest heights of the United States government, and now we are poised to be led by a black woman. I love the we are part of the largest, most intimate sorority of anyone, the black women, when we come in our space, and I love when she came on stage and said, Kamala Harris, my girl.
My girl.
We
That's
know
right.
what that means.
That's right.
We know what
now,
that means.
can we just say, she said, my sister there, can we just we'll take this moment to tell white people. Y'all don't try that at home. Now, you see a black woman. No, my sister. You see a black woman, don't say my girl. It means something different for y'all than it does for us, right? Like, they don't need to try. Yeah, please don't say boy to a grown-ass black man.
Just reply back, buddy. I found out yesterday that buddy is white people's boy. White men don't like to be called buddy. Hey, buddy.
Really?
That's what I found out yesterday.
No, I think that's different.
We always have to have our ears open.
Yeah.
To each of the nuances in community.
Do you really think they feel that? I mean, boy is slavery level. Girl is slavery level.
Place to debate.
I just want to know where it came from.
Well, I think when President Obama spoke, this was my favorite line from him. Look, we on YouTube. I'm going to keep it a buck. When he was basically saying Donald Trump gives little dick energy, when he was talking about what's the obsession with this crowd size, we all understood what that meant. And these were, I think, two people who were in the public eye for so long, and they were somewhat handcuffed. You know, they were imprisoned by the White House. Michelle Obama's often described it that way, that she didn't have her freedom. And now that they are let loose, they just came out, and I think it was 8 years of built-up. Can you believe the shit that this man has put us through? And here we are today with our get back.
President Obama was giving like late night talk show host energy last night. I did feel that, but I still don't understand how they was at the house listening to both them speeches, and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna go after you." Ain't no way he heard that speech. That the night before.
I think she didn't tell him.
No. Protocol-wise, she should have been the closer because we have, the Vice President Kamala Harris is running for president. Like, let a woman close out.
And not even let a woman give space
let
to
the best person close out. Yes, simple as that.
It's
Absolutely.
not even the woman. It is like she literally was like hands down. Everybody that we talked to today, they're like, man, Michelle Obama. And here's the other thing that's funny. People are obsessed with Michelle Obama running for president, and she's been like so clear. But you see in those moments. Why? Like you're like she is brilliant.
The addiction, I think the attraction to Michelle Obama, at least for me, and I can't speak for everybody else, is in politics you hear so much subterfuge. You hear so much color language. You have to always look for the subtext because the politician can never just say it like it is. And she was last night who she has always been. Yeah. A truth teller.
That's right.
Yeah. She came, she told the truth. And people were in tears off being blessed, being in earshot of the truth being told in this kind of a way.
Why is that, though, Andrew? Why is it that politicians still can't speak truth to power? Because I feel like the language of politics is dead. I feel like, if it's one thing that former President Trump did, he killed the language of politics. So I feel like everybody can speak truthfully and freely if they have the courage to.
I wish that were the case. Unfortunately, I think he killed it for him.
Right.
But for everybody else, we are measured by a different standard.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Also, he wasn't the first to do it. There have been plenty of black politicians who came out and spoke an honest truth. They won their district. There are Congressional Black Caucus members who have done that. There are people who run at the local level who have spoken truth to power. They may not have the national stage.
They don't get to do it there.
I have a testimony when you speak a truth on a national stage and commit the cardinal sin of making
That's what he's saying.
But it doesn't have to be on the national stage.
But I'm just saying it doesn't mean that Donald Trump somehow innovated this.
I think on that level, on that level of elected official.
He disrupted the playbook, the political playbook,
he's
for sure.
Raggedy. He's raggedy out loud. and his raggedy is acceptable in the political arena. That does not translate to everybody else. I don't want folks going out there and trying that, believing that it's possible. Madam President, Congresswoman,
we've been joined by Congresswoman Marcia Fudge, is also Secretary. I'm getting all the titles. Secretary Marcia Fudge as well, who has served as, let her put her headphones on. Let her put her headphones on. Who has served as the Housing and Urban Development Secretary. Most recently, she is also the co-chair of Harris Walls for president. And as Andrew has said, he kept saying, Madam President. I was just at the Midwestern Conference for Delta Sigma Theta where I got to speak. And the love that she has as a past president of Delta Sigma Theta is beyond. And so we are so happy to see you and have you. How are you doing?
I am wonderful.
You look lighter. You just
listen. I'm gonna tell you what. Now you know I don't do interviews.
I know.
I do them with you all because I like you. I don't do that.
You did Breakfast Club before.
And you did.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
She's saying because she loves you, that's why she ran that thing back.
You're too busy doing the work. That's why you ain't got time to be doing interviews.
Exactly.
That's right. That's
I
right.
have no time for TV.
Secretary Fudge, I'm so happy that you're joining us. You led the Housing and Urban Development Agency, cabinet-level agency during this administration. I'm curious your thoughts, because there are a lot of people who are very eager to hear specific policy points coming from Vice President Harris's campaign. She alluded to some housing policy when she did her economic rollout in North Carolina. What did you make of the specific points that she made about housing? Because so many people in our community, generationally, we've had to battle redline communities. Now we're battling challenges with banking and getting financing. I know in Georgia that's a big issue. What did you make of her policy points, and what advice might you offer when it comes to home ownership and the policy that she builds around that?
She wrote them.
Well,
Exactly. I'm gonna lift up her.
I had a little input in that. I did have some input in it. What we are talking about is making sure that we can have home ownership. We have for so long, you said it right, whether it be redlining, whether it be the increasing rents, what we know is that housing is a crisis in this country.
That's right.
But it is especially a crisis in core communities and communities like ours. What you're going to hear is how we're going to address down payment assistance. What you're going to hear is how we can keep people in their homes. What you're going to hear is we have started programs where we have actually sued appraisers, and they have now finally decided that they're going to change the way they appraise properties in our neighborhoods. We are looking at how we can make more people of color creditworthy by not counting double, basically, for student loan debt, credit card debt. So we are finding ways to make it an easier process. But in the meantime, what we are doing is we are also making it easier for people to live in housing that we have by assisting with more resources for rent, more resources for public housing. And the one thing that I'm really, really very proud of, and she probably won't mention it, but I think that you need to know, when I first came to HUD, if you had a criminal record, you could not live in public housing.
Yes, I know. Yes.
We changed that.
Yes.
I did that on my way out the door. Because we have to keep families together.
More, Secretary Judge? Like, that's something that y'all should be making billboards about.
We should, but you know, sometimes you can't tell people what you're doing until it's done.
Yeah.
But now it's done. And so we're telling people, because it brings families together. If people come out of incarcerated situations and they have no place to go, the rate of recidivism goes up really, really high. So we're trying to do away with that. But we are working very diligently. And you will see some, I don't want to preempt her speech, but you are going to see that she is serious about housing in this country. Whether it's private equity people coming in and buying houses up in our community, they literally told me that they will buy a house in 6 minutes. They'll make a decision to come into my neighborhood and buy a house in 6 minutes. They put a few $1,000s in it. They raise the rent so that the people who live there can't live there anymore. So we're dealing with those issues.
So her speech tomorrow is going to be heavy on policy, because that's one of the things that, you know, listeners were calling in the Breakfast Club this week, saying that they don't feel like they're hearing enough policy talk here at the DNC. So is she going to focus on that heavy tomorrow?
She is going to focus on policy, and she is going to address housing.
Wow.
Not as in depth as I have, but you will know that it is a priority. And it is a priority.
You know, one of the things, Ms. Fudge, I think is so important is a black woman is running for president. You are serving as a black woman campaign co-chair, and I have never known you to back away from any black issue. You are former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and there are folks who are literally questioning her blackness. This AKA from Howard University, this prosecutor with a progressive record that has always fought for and on behalf of black people, black mothers in the Senate. But can you please tell the listeners who are somehow still skeptical, the viewers who are somehow still skeptical, why this is not a question for you at all? Why you're very clear about that?
Let me say first this: she's blacker than the other one. Let's start there. Start there. Now we go from there.
That's fire.
When I first met Kamala Harris some years ago, the reason we met is because I was working in black communities to make sure that my people got something out of our vote.
There you go.
And even today, she understands I hold this campaign accountable.
That's right.
I was on a call last week, and I was asking, how much money have we put into our community? How many grassroots organizations have we given money to? Now, it wasn't a comfortable conversation.
Yeah.
But it's a conversation that we needed to have. And she made clear to them, give Marcia Fudge what she wants. Because she knows that I am her voice for black people. Because, you know, I'm unapologetically black.
That's it.
Yes, we do know this.
And she is as well. You know, she has a persona that is going to be important for all people, but do not underestimate her blackness ever.
Yeah.
So, Secretary Fudge, if a black man in Chicago walked up to you right now and said, tell me 3 tangible things that the Biden-Harris administration did over the last, 3.5 years, almost 4 years, what would you say?
Well, let me start. I can start and give you a whole lot of them. I'm going to start with getting us out of COVID when black people were dying disproportionately. $1,400 checks, child tax credit where we gave children, every child in the family, $300 a month for a whole year.
That's right.
Then I can go to the money that we put in education, in health care. The fact that we have done away with student debt. And I can go on and on. You want me to do some more?
Well,
she said that was 3.
Secretary, I think what's so important about that, though, and Charlamagne, to your point, this information is readily available. So if people have those questions, it's listed. Their accomplishments are listed on the White House website. And I encourage people to go and seek information yourself, share information responsibly, because there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation, specifically, as you know, Charlamagne, targeted to black men. And speaking of black men, we do want to bring it to the conversation.
Yes.
Jaime.
Can I say this one last thing, though? Can I just say this one last thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Joe Biden nominated and confirmed more black women to the federal bench than all other presidents combined. He picked a black vice president, a black Supreme Court justice, and I can go on. But I'm going to leave it to you, Mr. Chairman.
No, before you introduce it, the reason why that's so important, because it's not just symbolic because there's a black face. It's because there's a collective lived experience that when you're sitting on that bench and you look out into the courtroom on the defense and the prosecution side, and you've grown up understanding that there's an over-incarceration and over-prosecution and over-surveillance in our community, then you just happen to take a different approach. You've seen white judges sit up there at the bench and say, if it wasn't for your father, I would have you in the slammer. Because they have personal relationship. And we don't criminalize that when they have personal
But we
relationship.
need those judges to have that kind of humanity when they see us, though, because a lot of times you see those black judges on the stand, they don't have that kind of humanity.
We are not talking about Clarence.
But
more public defenders. You need more public defenders to be elevated. So often we pay an outsized amount of attention to the Supreme Court, but the lower courts are also incredibly impactful, specifically when it comes to us in a very unforgiving criminal justice system. But, Mr. Chair, I know you've been trying to get in here. So thank you for joining us.
And he doesn't
What's up, Mr. Chair, South Carolina? What's happening?
That's right.
My buddy.
South Carolina connection.
That's right. You know,
my thought partner right over there, Angela Rye.
Love
my
you.
auntie right there, Secretary Fudge.
You know, I executive produced Jaime's documentary, In the Bubble.
In the Bubble.
That's right. Absolutely.
He did.
Absolutely.
It's a phenomenal film. We did a panel on it this week. Jaime, I want to hear from you because I know you have to go. He literally carved out a little bit of time for us. I want the people to hear from you about why this moment, how this moment feels to you, what you are expecting tonight. We haven't even got into the agenda tonight. We'll hear from Tim Walz. Tell us all the things.
Well, one, I want to add something on the black judges. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, over 200 judges, 59 of them have been black. Now, black people, I'm doing my black math, only represent about 13% of the population.
Of course.
59 over 200,
Indexed.
that's over 25% of the judges he has appointed have been black. This
we got
is
a lot
also,
of room to make up for, though.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because Trump appointed over 200 white men
That's
with
right.
the lifetime appointments on the federal bench.
That's exactly right. But when you think about it, he's appointed, as the secretary said, more black women to the appellate court than all presidents combined.
Yeah.
And so we got to give him credit.
That's right.
And we got to say there's still more work to do.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you think about this administration, what they have done is that they have transformed things. They even changed the political process, right? All of my life, we have started the political process in Iowa and New Hampshire. And ain't nothing wrong with Iowa and New Hampshire. I love them. Good
Other
Democrats in that state.
Not
But
other than.
But not very many of us that live in those states.
At all.
That's right.
But this president and this vice president said we got to change that. If we
Right.
keep saying that black folks make up the heart and the soul and the backbone of the
Yeah.
Democratic Party,
Yeah.
then why are they relegated to the back of the bus to choose
That's right.
the next president instead of being at the front of the bus?
Right.
And that's why Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and yours truly at the DNC changed the schedule. We moved South Carolina to be the first.
Yeah.
The state where 40% of enslaved people came through the port of Charleston.
Yeah.
Gaston's Wharf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where many of their progeny picked cotton, now are the first people to pick the most powerful
Come on.
person on the face of the earth.
Come on, John.
What?
And then he added Georgia, and he added Michigan, and he moved up Nevada.
That's right.
And as a result of that, for the first time in American history, 4 out of the 5 early states were led by black women.
Yes.
Now,
That
Jaime,
makes a big
here's
deal.
the only thing.
Yes.
I love that you are a foot soldier for the party and you are faithful to it. And I love that no matter what we try to do, we always heal staffers. Sir, I'm going to need you to take some ownership for some of your accomplishments as chair. And I want the folks to know about the work that you're doing. It's so important, Jaime. There's a lot of investment that you've made in our communities. Before you got up here, Ms. Fudge was like, no, I'm asking about where the money's being spent, even when I am friendly. We still have demands to make. So talk about some of those things and what else you're expecting from the convention. But save your voice, and we need to find you a mint tea right away. I'm hearing it.
I've been drinking tea all day.
Lord
y'all.
Jesus.
But you know, that's when you have a family reunion and everybody get together
Yes.
and everybody is happy and
Yeah.
dancing and,
Yeah.
and crying.
No,
and
no.
all that
And you
stuff.
the cousin that got to speak to everybody.
Everybody.
See where you sleep last
Now,
night. We
Charlamagne,
saw.
We drinking cognac then, though, for the family reunion. Now, I ain't drinking no mint tea.
Oh, Lord. Please don't bring no brown liquor in here.
Well, listen, sometimes the tea got a little bit in it.
There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go.
There you go.
Hot toddy.
Hot toddy.
But listen, I'm so proud, and I'm proud to do my black job
Yes.
as chair of the
Okay.
DNC, along with my sister in the struggle, Minyon Moore, who I know is going to be here right now. Y'all, we have put on, and I'm not just bragging on this, but people are telling me this is the best convention that they've ever attended ever in their lives.
Wow.
Right? We gavelled in. Think about the history of this moment. 60 years ago, Fannie Lou Hamer testified at the Credentials Committee of the DNC convention. And in that, it was an all-white delegation. Black folks couldn't be a part of it. And you fast forward 60 years, and a black woman from south side of Chicago and a black round-headed kid from Orangeburg, South Carolina, gavelled in a convention of the Democratic Party where we are nominating a black woman to be president of the United States, folks. Think about the moment, folks. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in it, we got to step back and really think about the moment that we are in. And what Minyon and I, we're not just there because, you know, people like to call you token.
Figurehead.
Yeah.
Right?
Token.
Figurehead. We're not just sitting there. I'm looking at the money that we utilize. We made sure that the first contracts that we offered at this convention were going to black folks. The production, a lot of the production for this convention was a black production team for the first time in the history.
Yeah.
What we have done in terms of diversity, equity, inclusion at the DNC, I've made sure that the contracts, our largest contract at DNC goes to a black firm, our security firm. So we are making progress. Are we there yet? Hell no.
Yeah.
But are we making progress to get there? We are.
Yeah.
And then having Marcia, Fudge, and Cedric Richmond over in the campaign, and Jim Clyburn over the campaign as co-chairs, and Secretary Fudge is on it.
I know
On it.
On it. She is
We
breathing.
know.
I already,
On it.
staff at the campaign would tell me, oh man, I was on with Secretary Fudge and she was asking some questions.
She just told us.
We didn't see. We didn't see.
You know, I wanted to ask you, Secretary Judge, how does this energy, you know, as a woman differ from Hillary in 2016, like the energy around the vice president?
It's very, very different. First, let me say that I was very involved in the Hillary Clinton campaign, and I believe that because of people like Hillary Clinton, and Barbara Jordan and Shirley Chisholm that Kamala has a chance to win.
That's right.
You know, they started kicking in that ceiling for us, and so now it's just full of cracks, and we're just going to tear it down. But it's different because she is mine.
Yes.
She is one of mine. The history, that was historic, but not like this. I got chills sitting here.
I love that.
Because she is one of mine.
I love that.
And I'm so proud to be able to work with somebody who I believe is going to bring this country together, who is going to show people that we are not just competent, we are superior in many ways. So they think because, it's just because she's black. No, it's not because she's black. It's because she's the best.
Yes.
She's qualified.
Yes.
She's educated. She has worked hard. I mean, nobody gets to that place just by happenstance.
That's right.
We put in the work.
And
she has put in the work. And I feel it every single day. I carry it every day.
Yeah.
I love it. I know you all have so much to do, and so we're so grateful, Miss Fudge. I am ever grateful that you made time to do an interview.
We all are.
She was like, I'm doing this for y'all.
Right.
But we love you. Keep asking the tough questions and tell us where we can lean in and support you.
And keep holding this administration accountable. Keep holding them all accountable.
I was getting ready to say that because, listen, when I walk in the room, they just like, Lord, here she comes. But let me just say this one thing, to black men in particular. I hear a lot about she was a prosecutor. I was a prosecutor, too.
Yeah.
But what I don't hear is who speaks for that mother whose son or daughter is killed.
Right.
Yeah.
What I don't hear is when George Floyd was killed, they wanted a black prosecutor.
Yeah, that's right.
When Breonna Taylor was killed, they wanted a black prosecutor.
That's right.
You can't have it both ways.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
when
true.
they want a diversion program, you want a black prosecutor. We do our jobs. But it's also us that give you a second chance.
Yeah.
It's also black prosecutors that will say, you know what? I know that you should be in jail, but I'm going to give you a break.
And she's done that with the Back on Track program.
Absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Well, I'm gonna tell
we
you
just have
what.
to tell that part of the story.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. You have been summoned. You have to do more interviews. We love you.
Thank you, Secretary Fudge.
Thank
Love you too.
We love you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We love you.
Jamie, you stand with us?
Yeah, he's got us. I want you to stay, please, for a little bit.
Thank you, Secretary.
Look, his team.
I have
His
to thank
team.
my team. Madam
They're
Secretary.
all, yes.
He doesn't want to leave because he's
love
with
it.
family, you guys. So
Yes,
just
give
so
him
you
a
know,
few- They said 5 minutes.
I didn't get to.
They said 30 minutes.
I didn't get to say this when Jamie was coming on because we were in the middle of a conversation. But Jamie, I just want you to know, as your sister from the Hill, I'm so very, very proud of what you've done. I know that you've caught hell in this position. He's laughing, but I'm so serious.
It's gonna be in my book.
I cannot wait for the book. You're gonna have to do a second documentary. And I just want you to know, Jamie, take every moment that you can speak to appreciate all that you've accomplished and know that without your work, brother, we would not have had a Kamala Harris at the top of this ticket. I want you to know Fannie Lou Hamer is so proud of you pursuing and carrying on her legacy. Now I got goosebumps telling you this, but I want you to know there are so many young black boys and young black girls who are looking at you now, and they know that even this lane is possible for them too. They may not ever want to run for office. You've done both. You know, I recruited you to go back and do it again. We're going to see what happens, but I just want you to know that.
Can
We
I
love
want to
you.
give some context to you because I want our viewers to understand what it meant to disrupt that primary schedule. For so long, the primaries were led by Iowa and New Hampshire. These are states that are 93% and 94% white, respectively. So when you disrupt that cycle, by the time they went through those populations, it was really difficult for black people or any people of color to ascend beyond that, compounded by the fact that the donor base is largely white and male. So when you empower our people in South Carolina to be the leading voice on how this country will be run at a time when the demographics are so changing, because that's what a lot of this disruption is about, I don't think people can fully appreciate the size, the gigantic and the sizable impact that will have on the American body politic and the political landscape. I think that's such an important context. Given that, we know that there are a lot of people who are grossly uncomfortable with a black woman ascending to the highest office of the land, and they've made it known that they will not accept election results that they don't like. Do you have concerns about this November.
I always have concerns, particularly when I know the people on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah.
You know they're going to try to steal the election, Jaime. Come on now. You know, all around the country, they're going to refuse to certify the results of the election. You know that if it gets to the Supreme Court, they might even overturn it. You know that.
Charlamagne, I ain't confused. I know it. and that's why for the last 3.5 years, I've been building the biggest voter protection program in the history of the Democratic National Committee.
Gotcha.
It is because I understand and I know. We come from South Carolina. We know that they like to do all of the little hijinks and the things that, you know, I remember going to the campus of Benedict College and a young lawyer coming out of Georgetown and having to be there and stand with those young people because the Republican Party there sent some goons from Georgia to try to keep the kids at Benedict from voting.
Yeah.
So I know all of the tricks and the trade and the things that they like to do. And that is why we built the largest voter protection program ever in the history of the DNC. And that is why, I know my team is saying, like, you need to go, you need to go. That is why we have been working on that. But let me just say this, and then I'm going to wrap. Why this moment is important. Republican Party is a party built on the foundation of fear. We are the party built on the foundation of hope. Republican Party believes that our better days are in our past, but we know that our better days are in our future. Let me give you all a glimpse of the future. The glimpse of the future which motivates me each and every day. January 20th, 2025. We're in Washington, D.C. It's a cold and brisk day. We're at the U.S. Capitol, a building built with the hands of slaves.
Yeah.
And standing on a dais there is a black woman, a Delta, in a black...
AKA, get by, Jaime. Bye, Jaime. Bye. You done...
Listen. He said, reclaiming my time. Hold on. Yes.
Standing on that dais is a black woman in a black robe, a Delta.
Now hush, man.
You're right.
The first black woman justice of the Supreme Court. Her name is Ketanji Brown Jackson. And there in her hand, she is holding a Bible, the Bible of Frederick Douglass. And then another black woman steps out, wearing white or maybe even a tan suit. And she steps up and she puts her hand on that Bible. This black woman, an AKA, a graduate of a historically black college and university, and she puts her hand up and said, I swear to protect and defend the Constitution of these United States. Folks, that is what we are working on. That is what we are working for each and every day. And it gives me chills.
Yeah. And you're making us cry.
It gives me chills to think about that. So, folks, don't sit on your damn hands. You got to get up and you better work. You better work to make this happen.
That's right.
That is our future.
Jaime,
it is only our future, though, if we make it.
Jaime, can you please take Leonard off the stage with you? Because he just looked at me. He just looked at me and said, what about the Zetas?
I said, what about the Zetas?
But I want to say this. You guys, we have recreated on Native Land Pod at Breakfast Club right now this moment of the chair of the DNC and the chair of the Democratic National Convention Committee gaveling in. Minyon Moore has joined the stage. Jaime has to go. We're going to bring up Bishop Daughtry's coming up, too. We have two of
Make sure you watch In the Bubble with Jaime's doc.
And Charlamagne, I got a challenge to you, a voter registration challenge.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to put up 100K to get black voters, or 400,000 black voters in South Carolina registered. I need you to match it.
Match 100,000?
100,000.
I got you. Done deal.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Done deal.
I got a challenge for you a little later.
I challenge you to give me $1 million.
Done deal. Done deal.
I love you, Jay.
All right, Lenore.
I love you, Jay.
After this.
We got Bishop Leah Daughtry also coming to join us.
Be careful, because I fell up.
No, we don't want you to follow. Madam Chair, Minyon Moore, we are so very, very proud of you. We are thrilled to be sitting with you today. Y'all don't know.
Are you not stressed out?
Minyon Moore does not do interviews like that. She made time for us because she loves us too. And we have Bishop Leah Daughtry also joining us. She will be on with us in just a moment. Bishop Daughtry is here as well. This is two of the Color Girls.
You should break down what Minyon Moore does.
Minyon Moore is going to tell us a little bit about what she does. Everything. We have Congresswoman Waters is joining us in just a moment as well.
Oh, man.
But we have this tremendous moment, and I want folks to know, Minyon, you have been counseling and advising Kamala Harris since before the transition in 2020. You have been advising presidents, you and Leah and Donna and Yolanda and Tina, presidents since Jesse Jackson's campaign. You all held the line, and we didn't even know that you would be holding the line for us. Please talk about the significance of this moment.
You know, I tell you, I really haven't had a chance to take it all in because it has been so much just trying to pull all the pieces of the convention together. But it struck me when they brought Reverend Jackson out on Monday night and they gave him his flowers while he was alive.
That's right.
Many of us came through when there was nobody to blaze the trail. So he gave us the seat at the famous table that Shirley Chisholm always talked about. And we didn't have a lot of money working for him or working for his campaigns, but what he allowed us to do was to learn. And we were able to match our white counterparts with the skill sets, and it was all because we learned through the Jackson campaign. And to see this come full circle, me, Donna, Leah, Tina, we've been working together for a long time, but we also believe that it's also a baton moment for us. You know, I love Angela, I love Brittany, I love Tiffany, I love all these women because they are fierce fighters for our people. And, you know, sometimes we don't even have to say anything. All we got to do is say, we got you. And so I want to say publicly, we got you. We got all of you. Every time you go through the fire, just know, if you pick up the phone, we got you. And thank you for all that you're doing. And so this moment represents all the hard work that you young women have been out here telling us, fighting for justice, fighting for social rights. It's because of you we also sit here. And this moment means you have a seat at the most powerful table in America. If we do what Jaime has said, vote.
That's right.
I want to give our viewers some context because not everyone knows who the colored girls are.
That's true, too.
So I think it's important for you all to know it was a coalition of women who worked in politics, black women who worked in various different industries. You were in the church, among other things, as a bishop. But all of you all worked on campaigns, but you ascended to become so powerful in your reach and expertise that anyone who wanted to run for president of the Democratic Party would first come and sit at your table, the table that you helped build. That was happening long before the Obamas were in office. That was happening during the Clinton years. And so I just think it's so impressive. I also think, Minyon, and thank you for your wonderful words. You know, I've loved you for a long time. I also think, Minyon, a lot of people don't really know what the chair of the DNC convention actually does. So if you could give our viewers and listeners some insight into what your role is here.
You know, this role was, I was asked by the White House to assume this role. It originally started as a role that would come in and help a young man by the name of Alex Hornbrook help pull the pieces of this convention together. And thank God my sister Leah has already paved the way for us, so I'm not breaking any ground here because she had already paved the way. So, and this is my hometown, so I came back to Chicago thinking I was just going to spend a couple of days a week. It turned into a couple of months, and now it's been many, many months. But virtually, we build the infrastructure, and what we say is we build literally and figuratively the stage that the nominees have to stand on. We also play a strong hand in the programming of this convention. It's a lot of different pieces. People don't see behind the scenes. When you look at all these mags you're going through, that took a year's worth of work with the Secret Service. It took a year's worth of work with the Chicago Police Department. It took a year's worth of work with the city to make sure our delegates were safe, our visitors were safe. And so that's one big part of it, because you got to remember, we came in at a very troubled time. And so we had to ensure, the first part of our journey was to ensure that we could make sure that our delegates and their families were safe. The second part of this is just to make sure that people can hear the message, because it's the largest stage that our nominee will get. Right. And our nominee just happens to be Kamala Harris. Now, we did not know 6 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that we would be building the stage for the first black woman to take that stage over. But we had put all the pieces together, and so the transition just came with the program. And Leah can add more to it because, you know, so much
She's also
going.
been a convention CEO.
Yes.
Absolutely. In
I
Philly.
think Andrew has a question for you, Lisa. You right on cue.
Well, I actually just wanted to pass out some roses y'all's way. Not that I have the position to pass out anything, but to say that you didn't have to be a woman, black woman organizer to fall under y'all's clutch. I remember when I got invited by Bill Clinton to come and sit at a table of mayors and help to engineer this mayor program. And I ran into you, Madam Chair, and I mentioned it, and you said, well, how you think you got there, baby? And it was just a subtle way of saying how you all, I understand the connection that y'all have. Y'all were burnished through the fire together. I wasn't with you, right? I'm, Florida and came up and you couldn't name me from Adam Eve, but you looked out anyway. And you said, take a place here, learn what you need to learn, and take it from there. And I just want to extend my heartfelt appreciation for what you all do, the names that I cannot call, the people whose faces I will not recognize, but that y'all know because you stood in the gap and been the bridge for them. So your sisterhood of four extends out to a plethora, unnamed, unchecked number of acolytes all over this country and probably the world. So we thank you for it.
Thank you.
We are so
Leah,
grateful.
We didn't get your prayer. We weren't in the. Did you bring the word for the opening? Because we were up here doing this show. I just, as a woman of the cloth, obviously there's that. But you are also one of the most polished, direct, accomplished, and accomplishing women that any of us know. And I just wonder, from a training standpoint, for young folks who are coming up after, we're often getting questions on this show. What could I do? How do I find purpose? How do I find meaning? How do I exercise a role bigger than where I am? What advice would you give to this next generation of young people who want to emulate what you all have accomplished?
First of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate being with you and spending this time. I would say to young people, purpose isn't something that drops out of the sky, right? It doesn't just drop out of the sky and, ooh, angels singing and there's your purpose. You learn your purpose through the doing.
That's right.
Through the work. And sometimes you got to try a whole lot of things. When I was in college, I thought I was going to be an investment banker.
All right.
And then I went to work for a bank. And as an internship, I said, this is not it. I'm not going to spend my time denying people's mortgages.
Yeah.
So I tried something else, and then I tried something else, and then I tried something else, and eventually went back to my training in the church, which was political, and how do you change people's lives through using the political power that we have.
Yeah.
So I said, test it out. There's no one answer. Try something. Step out there. Experiment until you find the thing that sings to you. Katie Cannon says, find the work that your soul must have.
Yeah.
And so you won't know by sitting on Google. You got to get out there and just try a bunch of things and find the thing that works.
I love that.
I love it. We know that you have so much to do for the convention. And Alex has almost jumped on the stage, so we know y'all gotta go. And we're so grateful for your time. We are cheering for you. We are right here. I'm checking on you every night too.
I know.
Leah, Bishop Leah, we love you. Thank you all so much for paving the way and for continuing to carry the torch.
So is our mentor getting ready to come?
She is about to come up here.
Let's give her.
She's coming up.
Come on.
Thank you so much.
Lord, let me.
Welcoming to the stage Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Watch your
This
step.
is a very special guest because she happens to be Angela Rye's mentor. So this is an exciting time to have her join. She's also the ranking member of the Financial Services Committee in the House of Representatives. And when we say ranking member, that's because Democrats do not control the lower chamber in Congress right now. Should Democrats take back the House, she will become the chair of Financial Services. But what touches me about this moment, Angela, is that we are welcoming your mentor to the set. And I know how much this moment must mean to you to have her here.
Absolutely. And just so you all know, as you see her walk up here in her stilettos, she ain't got her headphones on yet. But she put her little bag up here. She does her marches and her protests like this, honey.
I love it.
Yes.
Queen Maxine Waters is here.
Yes. We love you, Queen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. I absolutely enthused for the first time in a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I usually don't get excited. You know, I usually don't get with the masses when they're talking about, yay, 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 things are so good. But I am inspired. You know, I really am. And I feel like a cloud is being lifted because Trump has been just such a nasty, dirty, deplorable human being that he has caused us to feel almost depressed.
Yeah.
And so I feel that this cloud is being lifted, and we have an opportunity to go forward with some hope.
Yeah.
You know, as an OG, Miss Waters, you know, who has seen America change so much throughout your lifetime, you know, how does it feel as a black woman to see another black woman in a position to potentially be the next president of the United States of America?
I really do feel that change is come about. I really do think that we're in a period of time where we're seeing America face the truth about the citizens of this country and the fact that they have been excluded and denied, and you have competent, capable, talented women, men and women, but black women who have really been undermined consistently in this country, now rising to the position of power and influence. So I feel really good about being a black woman right now.
Yes. Well, you know, the thing that I think is so important about this moment, Congresswoman, is I've watched you labor a long time, and before that you were still laboring. You've done the work from divestment in apartheid in South Africa to paving the way for moments like this.
Yes.
Do you feel like you can celebrate some of your work? I know you're not done, but do you feel like, you know what, I'm just going to take this all in because I know this wouldn't have happened without my contribution?
Well, I'll tell you what I feel. I really do feel I want the young people to know and understand the history from whence we have come, and the struggles that we have faced, and the sacrifices that we have made. Oftentimes, you know, they think that everything is new, that it's just happening now because they have arrived. But I am grateful for their arrival, but I want them to know what has gone into them getting to this point.
I asked Secretary Fudge the same thing, and I want to ask you as well. How different is this moment now as opposed to 2016 with Hillary?
Well, I think the fact that it's a black woman is different. You know what I'm saying? This is something that America never dreamed really about, and never thought about the possibility of. And so, yes, Hillary was a woman and had women behind her, black women, white women, you know, hoping that she could be president. But to have a black, capable, competent woman whose career has led us to this point, who has done everything anybody could have told her that she should have done in order to get to this point in her life, in our lives, it's different. And it's inspiring, it's motivational, and it's like, you know, you can sit back and you can watch it and you can say, yeah, we knew that someday it might happen, but we weren't sure. But we're going to keep on fighting for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. Congresswoman, I'm across the hall over here. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Well, we've been joined by a woman, a guest, Big Gretch.
Big Gretch. Governor Whitmer.
We got Auntie Max and Big Gretch. I know. Auntie Max and Big Gretch. I love it. That should be a movie, I feel like.
Right? A superhero movie. A superhero movie.
But before we get to the governor, I just want to say, growing up in Florida, and where I grew up, I didn't have a black representative in Congress. I didn't. My member of Congress was Republican, and we never met him. But I was a nerd and would watch C-SPAN as a sixth grader all the way through high school. And any time I would talk about my member of Congress, I would name check you because you were the voice for not just folks in Southern California. You were advocating for black folks all over the country. When you took banks to task, when you took mortgage lenders to task, when you held folks accountable for their racism, their redlining, you were doing that for everybody, not just South Los Angeles.
That's right.
So we want to thank you for that dedicated service. And now I want to ask you, because you're about to be the chairwoman of the Financial Services Committee when we take back the House of Representatives. I'm curious to know whether or not you got a top three that you just got to when you get there, that you're going to be dismantling, raising up, expanding as you take leadership there?
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so very much. Thank you for thanking me for the work that I have done. It was just part of what I signed up for, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And no matter the sacrifice or the toughness sometimes, it was what I was prepared to do. But let me tell you, I served as chair of the Financial Services Committee until we lost the House. And now I'm hopeful that I'll get that gavel back, because once I got it back, I know what to do with it. And so let me tell you, top on my agenda is housing. We have a housing crisis in this country. Every night in the greater Los Angeles area, there's 70,000 people on the streets. In this country, there are 753,000 people sleeping on the streets at night. We have a housing crisis in this country, and we can do better. As a matter of fact, in addition to the bills that I have, $150 billion bill, I've had a bill for $350 billion. It was killed by Sinema and Manchin, but we now have the bill redone, $150 billion. We also have the President, Biden, who's already talking about creating new units, affordable units, and doing something I never thought I would agree to, and that is giving tax credits to the developers who are willing to build affordable units and do it in such a way that not only are they affordable, but they're safe and they're secure. They're not only in the inner cities, but they're in the rural areas, in suburbia, and in all of the country, because it's needed everywhere. So that's one of my top priorities. The second thing that we've got to do is we've got to make sure that the banks and financial institutions of this country, first of all, are paying their fair taxes. Number two, that they're not ripping us off with predatory lending. We've got to do more than we ever did with the Dodd-Frank reforms, and make sure we bring them in, and we make sure that we move with diversity and inclusion and get some black people up in the C-suites so that the influence that they can have to make things right in some of our banks. We've got some gangster banks. And, you know, oh, absolutely. And they're stealing from us every day. So I want to make sure I do that. But we've got to move forward with AI, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and all of these things that are new to us that we've got to get more, learned about. We have to learn more about. And so it's a lot of work that you have to do on financial services. But I'm ready to do it.
Let's go.
Yes, we are. We love you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. Are you saying?
Well, I know that we have not limited time, because they have you doing all the things, Congresswoman.
I see her team over here giving us a list.
And oh, you're okay. They said she's okay, good. But we want to bring Governor Whitmer into this as well.
So this is Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Big Gretch.
Big Gretch.
Big Gretch.
And I'm going to make Angela a little jealous over here, because I got a gift.
I got to hold little Gretch yesterday.
So I get to hold this.
That's lip bar?
Yes. So the governor has very kindly brought us a gift. This is the Lip Bar. It is a black-owned business. The CEO, Melissa Butler, who's a friend of Angela
and a Rattler.
And a FAMU Rattler, a member of Delta Sigma Theta. They say I give a lot of D9 love. But this is a wonderful, the Lip Bar. We give you free advertisement, girl. The Lip Bar
it's our pleasure.
Yes, she has been so supportive to us.
Thank you.
And this color's called Big Gretch. I brought you.
I love it. I love it.
You see?
I see it. It's beautiful.
So thank you so much, Governor. We're so honored to have you with us. You were the talk of the town for a while when all this conversation came. And I want to ask, because we have a very diverse audience listening tonight, and it's so significant to have Vice President Harris ascend to this level. There is some conversation about a divide among us as women. Will women who, previously supported Trump.
White women, Tiffany, just say it.
Big Gretch said thanks too.
Will white women consider, thank you, Leonard, I appreciate that. Will white women who has previously not voted in their interest, or perhaps voted in their interest, if we're honest about what some of their interest is, will they consider this a victory for them as well, that a woman has ascended to this ticket? Not that you speak for all white women, but
let me real quick disclaimer: I do not speak for all white women.
Although we wish you did.
This white woman is so excited. My kids are excited. I'm here with my two daughters. They're 22 and 20 years old, and I remember driving to Philadelphia in the 2016 convention, and my kids were in the backseat, and I thought, oh my God, these girls have only known 8 years of a black president, and we're on the cusp of a woman president. And these are two things I never could conceive of growing up in this country. And obviously 2016 did not turn out the way I was hoping it would. We're as excited, if not more, about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I mean, this is a huge, huge chapter in America. Leaders who, and yes, I'm excited because she's going to break the glass barrier, but I'm excited because she is the most qualified candidate. She is strong. She is smart.
That's right.
She knows how to get shit done.
That's
and she is the type of person who's lived a life that we can relate to. You know, she's a normal person. She took care of her mom at the end of her life. She took care of her sister's kids at the beginning of theirs. She's going to deliver. And so I do think we can pull a lot of white women who maybe were on the sidelines or maybe went the other way thinking Trump would make their lives better, and they realize that's not the case, and we're going to pull more people into the fold right now. We're excited. We're feeling it. We got a lot of hard work to do. And in the state of Michigan, it is a dead heat right now, which is a vast improvement from where we were a month ago. But it's sobering when you think about how much work we got to do.
I want to ask you, Governor, because I saw a poll today that said the vice president had a 3-point lead on Trump in Michigan. What can she do to keep that momentum going and not fumble Michigan the way Hillary Clinton did in 2016?
Well, I mean, we're on the ground in Michigan. I don't think anyone's going to. No one's going to get to that. No one's going to take Michigan for granted. But you know, doing that voter contact, it's so important. We cannot write anyone off. We can't make any assumptions that people, okay, the black community is just going to show up because it's Kamala Harris. No, we got to do the work. We got to show up. We got to earn people's support, and that is true in every community. And so that's what we're doing.
I got a question for you and Queen Maxine. You know, we know that a lot of Republicans probably won't certify the results of the election come November. If it gets to the Supreme Court, in light of a lot of their recent rulings, I think they might overturn it if the vice president wins. How concerned are y'all about that?
I'm very concerned that Trump has been able to put in place people in several states who are in charge of the election system. And that's real. And some of them are going to be turning people away. Some are going to be finding they did not dot the I or cross the T, all kind of little tricks. And so we've got to be on top of this. Not only do we have to have monitors, we have to anticipate. When we learn things are going on, we have to move very quickly to get our lawyers out there, you know, challenging, because I think this is real.
That's right.
Yes.
I want to, because Charlamagne brought up a point about a fumble in Michigan, and I think it speaks right to the question about, you know, will people accept election results that they don't like? You know firsthand, Governor, about the dangers of fanatics and what I would call cult members who literally tried to kidnap you. Thank God their plan was foiled. But also in 2016, the 75,000 votes out of Detroit that were discounted. As you know, Hillary Clinton lost Michigan that year. Had she carried Michigan, and she lost by 10,000 votes. Had she had those 75,000 votes out of Detroit been counted, she would have won Michigan and thus won the presidency. How concerned are you about the infrastructure of this country and voting rights and voter suppression when it comes to November and it being a fair playing field?
Well, I am concerned about it, but I want to make a couple important points. We know 4 years ago when Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden by 150,000 votes, a landslide comparatively, he challenged the votes in Wayne County. Not the other 82 counties, but Wayne County, where Detroit is based, right? So we know the game that they want to play. I'll just share this. In 2022, I won re-election, and we flipped both the House and Senate. And in the wake of that, with just a one-seat majority in both chambers, we enhanced our election laws. We made it easier for people to participate. You can vote 3 weeks in advance in person. No reason absentee. Greater penalties for people that mess with and threaten election workers. These are good strides we've made. All that being said, we got to get ready because as the Congresswoman said, now one thing that I want to point out that I think should give us all you know, some hope, not false hope, but some hope, is in the most important swing states in the country. We got Tony Evers as the governor in Wisconsin. We got Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania. We got Katie Hobbs in Arizona. We got Roy Cooper in North Carolina and me in Michigan. We got Democrats who are going to make sure these votes are protected and counted. It's still going to be a challenge.
It's going to be a challenge.
If any of our opponents had been in the position we're in, I'd be a lot more worried.
I agree with you, Governor. And I think the beauty of it is that we do have you there as hopefully a fail-safe. My concern is, as you know, most of these elections are run municipally at the county level.
That's right.
And you may have these conservative counties that may want to flaunt.
That's right.
You know, the rule of law. You got great Secretary of State, so on and so forth. I am, having been in Florida in 2000, come from the state where the U.S. Supreme Court weighed in 3-4 and said, this is not precedent setting and will never be repeated. We have got to be on guard.
That's right.
We've got to let everybody raise the symbol before they ever do. And I just want to say, you have been an outstanding governor, holding the banner, looking these terrorists straight in the face and letting them know to bring it. I'm Big Gretch.
We love it. Big Gretch gotta go. Big Gretch gotta go.
The only people Big Gretch gets worried about making angry is my communications.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much. Come to Michigan as we get closer to this election. We welcome you.
Man,
We'd
love to do that.
All right,
thank you so much.
Good to see you, Governor.
Thank you. Breakfast Club.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Congresswoman, as we transition,
thank you, thank you,
thank you so much.
See you, yes.
Thank you. Oh, Congresswoman, they have one for you.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Cosmetics.
Yeah.
And this is the shade they call Big Gretch.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Wait.
All right.
Wait, just one more.
Thank you.
Congresswoman, thank you so much.
Yes,
Thankfully,
you're welcome.
this passes it will not be an issue with ethics because it's under the gift rule in Congress. But we know that you have to go be with your.
Forever the staffer.
We know that you have to go be with your constituents. We love you so much. Thank you for joining us.
I was delighted.
Thank you,
to be
Ms.
on.
Waters.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Meet her.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
The senator can come up.
Want to be with you again?
Thank you. And you were so happy to have Congresswoman Maxine Waters joining us today.
Yes.
As we have
we're welcoming the senator who's in our camera shot. Senator Schumer, come to us. Thank you, Congresswoman. We love you.
We have Chuck Schumer, who is the majority leader in the United States Senate, who will be joining us just momentarily.
What's up, man? How are you? Good to meet you. Absolutely.
Good to see you.
Wherever you're most comfortable.
Yes, we're going to get his headset on because he can't hear anything we're saying. But as that happens,
thank you, Senator.
What a phenomenal moment to have that generational conversation.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a breath, but it's a lot, right? Where you have Queen Maxine Waters come up here, and then you got Big Gretch come up here at the same time. It's a lot.
And then we have Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who's joining us now. Quite a big difference from just a few weeks ago, huh?
Oh, man, are we cooking?
We cooking?
I have been at every convention since 1984. None is as happy, none is as unified, and none is as committing to win as this one.
Wow.
We're going all the way.
That's right.
It is so great, I cannot tell you.
Even more than 08?
More than 08 even, because you know why? We have the positive. We have Kamala, we have Walz, but you know there's a negative. We cannot let that son of a gun get back into office. Yeah. So it's both ways.
Say bitch, man. Say son of a bitch. It's okay. It's okay, Chuck.
Son of a gun. Son of a gun.
I'm going to tell you, that president is no effing good. How's that?
Yeah.
That's better.
You know, Senator, you introduced.
I'm from Brooklyn. You know, we use these words.
I already know.
That's why he was trying to urge you on, I think.
You know, I like that you introduced the No Kings Act after the Supreme Court presidential immunity ruling. And in light of the Supreme Court's recent rulings, how concerned are you about them potentially interfering in this election? Because you know Donald Trump is going to challenge it.
You bet. Trump has no principles. He has no morals. He will do anything he can to win, no matter what corner he has to cut, no matter how many rules and laws he has to break. That's why he's going to go to jail. But because of the previous stuff he's done.
That's right.
And so let me just say we are vigilant. We got the best election lawyers on the case. We are training thousands of lawyers. We are making sure on election day they don't screw around and deter people from voting. You know what they used to do? They used to send out in African-American neighborhoods, voting day has been changed, vote Thursday. These guys won't stop at anything. That's what the Republicans used to do. But we are now prepared. We were not prepared years ago. We are.
Majority Leader Schumer, you know, one question that I have for you based on what you just said, I think is so important because folks regularly are donating to campaigns or to campaign committees. And you just talked about training a bunch of lawyers. Is that some of the ways that you all are using the contributions?
This money is used in every way. Obviously TV, obviously digital. But we're getting out the vote. You know, the best way to get out the vote, particularly among our young people who aren't voting that much, knocking on doors and explaining it. Better than an ad, better than anything. We're putting close to half our money into door knocking and talking to people. But we're also putting our money into just what Charlamagne said, and that is preventing them from stealing this election. They'll stop at nothing.
Why aren't more people in your position just calling out the Supreme Court as an illegitimate institution at this point?
They should. You know, the right wing, these very rich, greedy people who didn't want to pay any taxes, who didn't want the government to do any, you know, they said, I built my company with my own hands, although half of them inherited it.
Yeah,
and they said, how dare your government tell me how I ought to treat my workers, my customers, or the land and air and water that I own. That's what they did. And they realized, Charlamagne, that they couldn't get this done even when they controlled the elected branches of government, House, Senate, because there was, and President, because there was so far to the effing right, so far to the right. And so they tried to take over the courts. We have an obligation to try and stop them. The Supreme Court is a morass. Now, who would have thought of this? The ethics of that court.
Yeah.
So these rich people are paying for cars, for trips. At the same time, they're paying somebody, some law firm, to go to a lawyer and make their case. That is outrageous. And I'll tell you who we should blame, among others. The Chief Justice, John Roberts, who once said he's calling balls and strikes, he could stop this with the flick of his pen. Where the hell is he?
Go ahead.
So the president has made it a stated goal to get reform on the Supreme Court. What's your prognosis for between now, lame duck, and obviously a new presidency?
Lame duck will be hard because the Republicans control the House. A few right-wingers seem to run the show, and they will stop at nothing to keep the court the way it is. But if we, and please vote, 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 if we keep the Senate, win the House, win the presidency, Supreme Court reform is going to be at the top of our agenda, because we cannot let these unelected people take away women's rights, take away others' rights. You know, we talk about freedom. They used to talk about freedom. They don't believe in freedom. We do. But we also believe in economic freedom. We believe you should have a good education so you can get a decent job. Freedom to be able to pick your job. We talk about freedom to be able to afford a house. You know, one of the great things Kamala just did is this. Young people, a lot of young people have enough money to pay the monthly mortgage, but they don't have any money for the down payment.
Yeah.
No one can save that much these days. And so what she said, what Kamala said, is very simple. $25,000 the federal government, if you're a first-time home buyer, to help you with that down payment. People, when they hear that, particularly the younger people, and we have to make sure vote, they're going to love that. She knows what she's talking about. I knew her in the Senate. She was great.
Do you support? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was actually going to piggyback on your question about the court. You know, Charlamagne called it an illegitimate institution, and I have to echo that sentiment. For the people out there who may not understand the severity of what the power of this court and what they've done, what specifically can be done as soon as possible? Do we expand the courts? That has to go through the Senate if we do. I mean, because at this point, our democratic institutions are corroding.
As I said, the first step in getting rid of the morass on the court is to vote. Because if they keep the House, if they win the Senate, or if they win the presidency, any one of the three, they will block it. They will fight for this court. But once we get it, there are a lot of proposals out there on the table. There's expanding the court. There's term limits. I have a proposal that's much simpler. It's limiting their jurisdiction in certain areas. You know, Justice Alito said Congress can't regulate the courts. Well, Pardon me, sir,
yes.
Mr. Justice. You didn't either read or understand the Constitution.
That's right.
It says it explicitly in there.
That's right.
And so we can do that relatively easily and limit the kind of jurisdiction that they have.
But the expansion,
That's
the fact that
in
you've
the
got
Constitution.
a justice who's prepared to expand the power of the court through their own word or
You
through
bet.
their own written opinion.
Absolutely.
With no accountability, no teeth in ethics,
and
no way to hold them accountable.
And in the past, maybe people said they'll never get it done. Well, we saw what happened with choice.
Absolutely.
We heard what one of the justices, I think it was, I can't remember which one, maybe it was Justice Thomas. He said next is gay rights. He
sure did.
And gay marriage.
But he's not going to go after biracial marriage.
Interracial.
Interracial. We do interracial.
Interracial marriage.
It's been a long. He's not going to go over after either one.
You never know what these guys will do.
But he can't.
Right.
He got Jenny.
Clayton
Bixby doesn't know
Guess
who he
what?
is.
The hypocrisy of these
It's
folks is so large,
overwhelming.
you can't hold them to any standard of consistency. Look at this. When when Mitch McConnell said that you can't vote on a justice within about 6 months before the election.
Gosh.
A year.
And then there was
That's
another
right.
vacancy.
That's right.
And he put someone in a month before.
That's
they have
right.
no consistency. They will do anything to keep this court intact because they know that their agenda is so far to the right
bidding.
that no one will accept it in the elected branches.
That's
this
right.
has to be, you are right, this has to be one of our biggest fights.
That's right.
But doesn't it take more courage from Democrats when it comes to situations like that? Like Democrats have a reputation for being cowards because they don't push back on things like that.
Hey, Charlamagne, I'm from Brooklyn. We fight.
So I want to just say Senator Schumer's staff is waving him down so hard he almost lost his train of thought. He actually has to go.
I am afraid of my staff.
I know.
don't know about
So
you.
did Governor Whitmer. So we are so grateful for your time tonight. Thank you, Majority Leader Schumer. We are looking
Let me
forward
just
to.
say, folks, on to victory. We must win.
We have to.
The future of this country, the future of the world,
And democracy.
depends on this.
That's right.
And by the way, can I just say one of the very first things we're going to do if we get the power is put the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, the Freedom to Vote Act on the floor of the Senate, changing those rules, and we will get it done.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, leader.
I hope we can count on reparations too.
We appreciate it.
We like to see it.
Thanks for
I
your
echo
leadership.
your sentiment.
Justice and policing, we need all that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator Schumer.
Be careful.
We got a big agenda.
We need to be in there.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Last time we had the power, we had the most successful Congress, most successful presidency. Give Joe Biden credit.
That's right.
Since Johnson and maybe since Roosevelt. It'll happen again, even more. You ain't
Yes, sir.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yes, sir.
Let's
We're
go.
not
We'll
trying to
keep you
get
to
tased
it.
by your
Yes,
team, so
yes,
you
yes,
be careful.
Be
Be
careful.
careful. Thank you
Okay, we're
so
gonna
much
move
for
this out
joining
the way.
us, y'all. That was Senator
Absolutely.
Chuck Schumer, who is the majority leader in the United States Senate. We
Thank
are
you, Senator.
dapping him up as he departs. This is Native Land Pod in partnership with Breakfast Club. And we are getting ready to welcome our next guest. But in the
Those are
meantime,
good.
be careful, Senator Schumer. That step is insane.
Senator Schumer said he agrees with expanding the Supreme Court.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And we also asked for some reparations. We also asked for a reparations bill to hit that floor. We'll see. Be careful. That step is trying to take people
somebody
out.
out.
It's a whole step.
That step is trying to take somebody out.
Well, we're being joined by Alexis McGill Johnson, who is the
Peace.
president of Planned Parenthood Federation
How
of
are you?
America. You're not gonna be able to hear us till you put your headset on, but we love you. We love
sit
you
wherever you like.
Wherever you like. Yay.
Alexis McGill Johnson.
Yes, we are being joined by the lovely. So, Alexis, you just were on the floor giving a rousing speech. Talk to us about why this moment is so mission critical for Planned Parenthood and everything that's at stake.
Oh my, well, look.
And welcome home.
Welcome home, y'all.
Welcome home, exactly. Look, we have the opportunity to elect the most pro-reproductive freedom ticket this nation has ever seen, right?
Lift your mic. We want to make sure our folks hear you. We
Yeah,
got you
you got
now.
me. Yeah, we
there
got you.
Look, we have an opportunity to elect the most pro-reproductive freedom fighter ticket that we have ever seen. And we have been living in a public health care crisis for the last 2 years, right? We are living in a world where 22 states have banned access to abortion, and that impacts over half of all black women living in those states. And so when we have Vice President Kamala Harris, who has traveled around the world, who understands this issue inside and out deeply, and we have a movement that is united and poised around what possibility we could bring in terms of federal legislation, it just feels like we're in a moment where you can really do this, and we know it's also going to energize the party in the base as it has been over the last 2 years.
I have to say, on Monday night, I mean, truly, abortion took the stage.
Yeah.
People spoke about their own heartfelt, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching experiences from the young woman who spoke about being raped by her stepfather. And she was saying, you know, what is so beautiful about having to carry your father's child, essentially. You know, there's a lot of polling data, a lot of conversations that happens around abortion, and they say, oh, X% of people support a woman's right to choose. And I always say, I don't really give a damn how many people support it. The only person that matters is the person whose body it is. We owe our bodily, our autonomy. Absolutely. So I'm curious for you, because I asked Big Gretch, the Michigan governor, she was on with us earlier about white women and the voting bloc. In Georgia, in 2016, white women outpaced even white men in voting for Governor Brian Kemp, Republican Governor Brian Kemp, who ran on anti-choice, an anti-choice platform. Right. How do you think that crucial voting bloc, who can impact all of our lives, will show up given the change and historic nature of this ticket?
Look, here's the thing. We have seen since in the last 2 years, ballot initiatives that have driven kind of participation across party, across race, across demographic, across rural, urban, right? Because it got really personal really quickly. Yeah. Right? You have, right now, many OBGYNs are leaving states with bans. Mass exodus. Many OBGYN residents are not even matching into those banned states. They are seeing the hurt and the burden, and they have driven these ballot initiatives, right? Yeah. So that's like kind of our first proof point that we have seen kind of I think a realignment that is possible when you put reproductive freedom at the center and when you center the experiences of the people who are most harmed. Now, our job, you know, at Planned Parenthood Action Fund and other organizations actually make the connection between the ballot initiative, the policymaker, and the people who are making the bad policies, right? Because it's one thing to come up and say, yeah, I really want this right in my state, but we also got to remind people that these are the same people who took it away from you in the first place. Right. So, you know, I think white women will have come on reproductive freedom. I think what Donald Trump has put forward and J.D. Vance have put forward in terms of their connection to Project 2025 is terrifying, and we've lived through that. Yeah. So, you know, that's where the work is.
But we hope they channel the spirit of Shirley Chisholm and not Phyllis Schlafly, but time will tell.
You know, but the other thing I would say is that the upside for this election, this is always going to be a tight election. It was always going to be a turnout game. And, you know, every Democratic candidate since I believe since Clinton has really only maxed out at around 41% of the white vote. Yeah. We weren't
Democrats lost that vote along, but that's why it's baffling to us that they try so hard to get it.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Like it actually is the upside and the energy that we are experiencing for the folks who are being our joyful warriors right now.
Yeah. Did you ever think that you would see a time where women's reproductive rights were so blatantly under attack like now?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, I was born, 5 months after Roe, right? Wow. Or 5 months before, depending on which year I use.
Who are you talking to?
But no.
Like either way, I still got it.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. Get it?
No, I mean, honestly, Charlamagne, it's not only witnessing the fact that my two daughters who are here, 12 and 15, that they are growing up with less rights,
That's right.
than my 84-year-old mother did. But the fact that they are coming after other things, right? They're coming after IVF. They're coming after contraception. They're coming after no-fault divorce. Wow. I mean, all of the ways in which they can control our bodies, our relationships, our minds, like that's the thing that the kind of going back piece that is so resonant with the Vice President's campaign.
Madam President, can I ask, so Leader Schumer was up here talking about potential reforms to the court.
Yes.
I'd love to know how you all, once we are beyond this November election and hopefully save bodily autonomy, democracy, and all the other stuff that's on the line, can we expect Planned Parenthood, the force that you all bring to the table, to the political discourse, to be engaged on this fight around the courts? And if so, what does that look like? What is the gold standard of what you'd like to see by way of a reform around this haphazard, almost illegitimate in my eyes? I think we can all say that court that is ravaging the Constitution.
Absolutely. I mean, look, so we actually just put out our court reform platform just within the last year or so, right? Because we've always relied on the courts as a backstop for protecting reproductive freedom. We've always focused on that. But, to your point, the illegitimacy of watching these decisions that are blatantly, in our opinion, unconstitutional, come down, and the impact and the horror that we are seeing. So, supporting, first of all, we can start with the easy lift, right? We need some court reform ethics.
That's it.
Yeah.
With teeth.
We need some ethics. We also need term limits.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. That's right.
There should not be a lifetime appointment with young justices that are being put in as Chief Justice.
That's right.
To run the table for generations, and in fact, generations to come. So I think those are the things that we, at minimum, we need to start thinking about. I think we need to talk about expanding the court, right? We expand the court in lower district courts all the time, right? I think we did in Florida, right? Yeah, exactly. Right. And so how are we living in a world right now where we've had 9 justices who are completely out of sync with where Americans are in understanding their interpretation of the Constitution?
That's right.
Well, we just want to thank you so much for taking. It was a busy time. I know our viewers at home can't see, but there are people out there watching, and we appreciate the work that you do. You and I have shared the stage a few times, and it's always an honor to have you.
It's also impressive to see. Isn't it crazy that black women are at the intersection of the biggest fights right now taking place?
And speaking of that, we have Melanie Campbell.
Not an accident.
Right.
Yes. Reinformation.
We love you. We love you, Alexis. Thank you so much for being here. We have been joined by Melanie Campbell, who is the founder, and she runs a tremendous organization with the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, as well as Black Women's Roundtable, mentored by Dorothy Height, and has been a big sister, a leader, a bright, shining star for so many of us. And Mel, I just want to say, we talk about it all the time, but in this work, as a part of the civil rights movement, so often the women who do the work every day are not given the attention, the shine, the respect they deserve. And what I love about you is you are going to claim it. You are going to make sure that you make space for all your sisters, and you do it with such grace. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sister. This is an honor. This is all of my favorite people. Right? I'm a fangirl of all 4 of you all.
Thank you.
Only because you raised more than half of us.
This is my baby over here. Go 2000.
That's right. I was on the board. You honored me, joined the board.
Black Youth Vote.
I love that. I didn't know that, AG.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We Florida folk.
Yeah, you guys are.
NCAU.
And then the classmate here.
Yes.
I love it.
Go back.
I'm just black, and I'm just happy to be black with you. That's all.
And I met you in New York. Doing your thing early.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But it's been a minute.
Absolutely.
So I watch you from afar, and you do awesome work.
Thank you very
Mel,
much.
I want to know about your work right now, because you are tireless in the fight. You are doing it. What are you looking at doing as we get closer to November? We are 76 days now away from the election. So what does that work look like up until the election day?
Well, we started in October last year.
Yeah.
Because we knew we had a problem down in Florida.
Yeah.
We used Florida as a backdrop. Went to FAMU, to your alma mater, and started its Power of the Ballot campaign, going in the community, really listening to our folks, especially our young folks, about what was concerned. So we're going to pick up on our Power of the Ballot campaign. Right now, we're trying to make sure people are prepared.
Yeah.
Right? Are you vote ready? Because I'm excited about this. You know, I'm here in my personal capacity, so I can say what the heck I want right now. And so
you say you didn't need to name all them titles.
Right.
I just,
Yeah. So, but you know, I told folks, don't call me about no inauguration. You got to get across the finish line.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
History will teach us.
That's right.
Folks were calling and giving away jobs in 2016. Hello, we woke up the next morning and all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
So nobody got no job. Got no black job, right? Ain't gonna be no jobs. So that's what I'm trying to get folks to be really serious about. One, it's okay to have, like Latasha tells us, it's okay to have joy, right? Yeah. But we have to be strategic about what we need to do. And so to me, it's like, we're going to leave this place, we're going to get on the ground, and we got to make sure, because the enemy never sleeps.
Yes.
Right? Right, and what I like about what Michelle Obama did last night, she was unapologetically black, and that was so refreshing, right? Because she used that platform, and we gotta get our folks out, and we gotta make sure they're coming for us, right? Yeah. But we're gonna, you know how when the enemy coming for you, and we're gonna go out, we're gonna turn and look the enemy in the eye.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we gotta do that so that so every opportunity where they think they're gonna try to suppress us, we gotta be in their face.
Yes.
So that's what I'm gonna be on the ground with all the folks, and so
I love that. So what's your prognosis? A lot of people, when talking about young people, young organizing, give a glass half empty sort of reflection on young people. They're not engaged, they're not interested, they got other things to do. I have a suspicion that that's not been your experience when it comes to organizing and raising up the next generation of young leaders in the country. I'd love for you to just give us some bright spots on your prognosis of what this next generation leadership looks like, those folks that are coming through and are coming across your path, the folks you're training and seeing on college campuses around the country.
Okay. I'm going to start with you.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Because, you know, they say the same thing about your generation.
That's
but
right.
You showed that when you did all that you did from when you were on the campus all the way up to when you ran, right, on several occasions and took on that public service. That's still happening, right? I was at FAMU. Those students were fired up and ready. So the idea that they're not, when you got a 25-year-old in Frost who became a congressperson, it's like folks are stepping up. It's like the reality, though, is that there are those who don't see that this thing this system is working for them, right? And so we have to be real about that, right? And call it. So it's not about being a operative of the Democratic Party. It's about being strategic about how we leverage our power. And my thing is when young people have the opportunity, like you had the opportunity, like I had the opportunity to give space to lead. Well, Latasha and I were on a panel with Brittany earlier today, earlier today. And the thing is that we have to keep building institutions, right, and giving space for young people to step up and organize. You know, I'm considered legacy now. I'm like, Lord, I don't like that word, Lord. So, but but I've been around, y'all. I've been around. I haven't had a second husband yet, but I'm you know, hey, thanks. A lot of things
well, Mel, we about to have to let you go find him in a minute. So.
You know, y'all notice I'm working a little
You look good. We gonna let you go.
I'm 6 decades.
You out here looking for a man?
No, they gotta come find me. I'm trying to make sure, you know, I shine out a little bit better. Right?
Mel, we gonna welcome up. Look, Mel, we're gonna welcome up our brother Rashad Robinson. I didn't see you, Alphonso, but we're gonna come on. Okay. Rashad Robinson, Color Change. Mel, we're gonna tell you thank you so much. Alphonso Davis joining us as well.
Please, Queen.
Appreciate you all.
We love you, Melanie.
Thank you so much, Mel.
I hope you find a man out here. I hope you get some action.
Oh my God, it's so insane. Why? She did start it though. She did say second husband. We love you, Mel.
Peace, brother. How are you, sir?
We love you.
We have been joined by Rashad Robinson from Color of Change and Alphonso David, who oversees the Global Black Economic Forum for Essence and is working on quite the venture to ensure that black folks turn out to vote in November. So, Alphonso, we'll start with you and then come to you, Rashad. Talk to us about what you have going on.
So, this, as everyone knows, is one of the most important elections of our lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we hear about this all the time every 4 years, but this is really an existential threat to our economic freedom, whether we can actually be free moving forward. And what we're doing at the Global Black Economic Forum, working along with Essence, is we launched an initiative called Paint the Polls Black.
That's it.
We want to make sure people understand that our rights are on the line. And so this is about voter education, voter registration, voter mobilization, and importantly, voter protection.
That's right.
Because if you show up to vote and they tell you that you need a third form of ID, or they tell you that the polling station is closed, when in fact it's open for another 2 or 3 hours, that's voter suppression.
That's right.
And if you don't know what your rights are, you don't know who to call. So we entered into a partnership with the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights to make sure that people have the information, right? We can't be in a position now where people are mobilized, they're registered to vote, and they show up, but they can't vote. We see what's happening in Georgia. We see what's happening across the country.
That's right.
They just passed a piece of legislation where anyone can challenge your ability to vote without any evidence.
That's right.
So you may register to vote, show up to vote in a month from now, 2 months from now, then they tell you you're no longer in the voting rolls. No one told you.
That's right.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Vigilante democracy.
That's
right.
exactly.
Exactly. We know they love to
authoritarianism.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
but it's vigilante. You're empowering these carry. All these days, these people got carry laws, right?
Yeah.
Open carry laws.
Yeah.
And now I can come to you and check you on whether or not you can vote.
Right.
That's
Until a bunch
insane.
of black folks start showing up with guns to check white people if
There
they
it
got
is.
if they got the right to vote, then you'll see those laws change. I want to bring in Rashad Robertson in the conversation, who runs Color of Change. And I think for a lot of us who have worked in this space, covered politics for a long time, you guys are household names for us. We know your organizations and what you do, but for a lot of the people out there, they may not know what Color of Change is and the significance of your organization.
Yes.
You are a civil rights organization. The unique thing about your organization, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, you don't take corporate money.
Correct.
So you are not beholden to anyone's agenda. So you can be truthful and stay true to the agenda and goals of the people. Talk a little bit about what Color of Change does and your role in that organization.
Yeah, so Color of Change is going to be 20 years old next year.
Wow.
So as a next generation
Unbelievable.
racial justice organization, it's incredible. And we were actually founded in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And that's important because it does speak to what you were just saying, Tiffany. We were founded when black people were literally on their roofs begging for the government to do something and left to die. And that moment that really illustrated a whole set of things that we already knew, right?
Yeah.
Geographic segregation, generational poverty, the impacts of what's been done to our planet and so many other systems. But at the heart of it, no one was nervous about disappointing black people.
Yeah.
At all.
And
That's
if
right.
folks are not nervous about disappointing your community, it doesn't matter what kind of research report you have that illustrates a bunch of facts and
That's
figures.
real.
Doesn't matter what kind of app you have. You can't code your way out of systemic oppression. You can't nonprofit executive direct your way out of systemic oppression. And so what we do is we leverage people power and narrative change. We were founded with a single email to about 1,000 people saying, join a new movement. And since then, we have grown to a movement of millions of folks, black people and allies of every race. And we run strategic campaigns. And so you're not going to see a campaign from Color of Change that says, tell Mitch McConnell to stand up for affirmative action. Because who cares how many people sign that petition? Mitch McConnell's not going to stand up for affirmative action. But
That's real.
Right? But
it's a waste of time.
But there are corporations that say buy our products or use our services.
That's right.
And we can't have them, coming to us by day and then taking away our vote by night,
How
taking
about
away
that?
our freedom by night, taking away our ability to access education and employment opportunities. And so the millions of members at Color of Change, we leverage them 365 days a year. And so that's not just about coming out to vote.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that's been really exciting is the work we've been doing around prosecutor reform, because so much of the criminal justice system, we get angry about what's happening. And so over the last several years, we have both put prosecutors in office and we've taken some out. And what we do is we leverage our members to use technology, and we built this back-end system that allows our members to reach out to irregular voters who don't show up to every election. Oftentimes, they don't care about what's happening at the top of the ticket. And we give them very real things to do, but we also let the prosecutors know that when we endorse them, we're going to put you in there, but we might take you out. And over time, we're going to show up after the election for accountability. And so up and down the ballot, we try to do that. We've endorsed, obviously, Kamala Harris this election cycle, but we've also, over the years, pushed Vice President or Senator Harris. But that is actually how democracy works.
That's right. That's right.
And that is what we have to do. And so part of what does it mean to be not just present, not just visible, but powerful, is our ability to constantly be in this space. We also endorse Andrew Gillum up here.
Yes, I love that.
And that's my dear brother. And we've worked with all of you on this stage in different ways.
You know, it's so interesting as we sit here. We've been talking about it every day, but as we're sitting here, you talked about holding folks accountable, including prosecutors that you would both support and not be afraid to take out. And as you said that, there were a couple of mayors that walked by. Eric Adams, and you haven't seen him yet, but the mayor of Chicago is also walking by. Thank you. I was okay. I was definitely about to call him the mayor of Baltimore's name, but I was thinking, Alphonso, if you could weigh in here on the importance of not just engaging folks around the voting part of our civic responsibility and engagement, but also on the accountability part. We have a job to do, just like they have a job to do for us. We pay them.
Right.
So what happens on the other side of the election?
Look, I think as we talk about the importance of voting, if we don't hold our elected officials accountable, we devalue our vote.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. So if you show up to vote for an elected official and you cast your ballot, and then 6 months later or a year later, they fail to follow up on their promises, your vote is devalued. And you're telling them that your vote is devalued. So it's important that we hold them accountable. It's important that we follow up. And all of our organizations, the Color of Change, the Global Black Economic Forum, we're here to make sure that we hold these elected officials accountable. We can talk about the issues. We can talk about employment, housing, public accommodation, credit. In all of those categories, black people suffer significant disparities.
Yeah.
So if we're electing people to address those disparities, we have to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And if we don't, all they have to do is the following 2 or 4 years or 6 years, depending on where they are, they'll say what they say every election cycle. We vote for them every election cycle and nothing changes. So part of the apathy that I'm concerned about is people say, I vote every election cycle and nothing changes.
Yeah.
Well, nothing changes because we're not holding our elected officials accountable.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, can I get off of the other side of that, which is we're in Chicago. Kim Foxx came in as a prosecutor and ushered in reforms across this community, and now she has decided not to run for re-election, largely because the police union and all of the institutions that she upset with her reforms challenged her and said, we will come after you, we will take you down. The same thing happened with Aramis Ayala. There are cases that we can cite all over the country where we have gotten behind these reform-oriented prosecutors, these reform-oriented elected officials, but nobody has been there to have their back to make sure that we got some protection for our folks. And this may not be y'all's job that are sitting here.
That is exactly what it is.
That is our job. And Kim was the first prosecutor we elected. We actually then showed back up for her re-election. And I remember we had people at the doors knocking, our members at the doors knocking. And this is just important for the community to understand. We had people knocking before COVID hit, and we had to go everything digital. And folks were mad at her for prosecuting R. Kelly and mad that she didn't prosecute Jussie Smollett. And we had to spend a lot of time trying to help people make sense of all that and really talk big picture around all the things that she was no longer prosecuting.
That's right.
The people that had been released, the things she had done on drugs, the reduction in size of Cook County Jail, which is one of the largest jails in the country. This was very clear things. I just saw Kim yesterday, and yes, the police union, we have a police union prosecutor kind of engagement program. Just recently, we've had victories at the city council here in Chicago, where we've been reducing the power of the police unions. They were actually trying to bring the cases against police where they are being held accountable. They tried to make all those hearings private. And we won at the city council recently, mobilized our members to hold them accountable. But we need more people.
That's right.
No single organization can do it alone.
Right.
And the attacks on Amaris Ayala and Kim Foxx are not just about attacks on prosecutors. I think people have to understand the larger thing we're going to be facing this election cycle. They are not attacking Kim Foxx the same way they are attacking Larry Krasner, the district attorney in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, who's doing the similar work. They are attacking them in very unique ways, going after them as black women, going after their families, working to try to make them unsafe. And part of the work that has to be sort of recognized, the muscle we have to build in our community is understanding that we won't have good people to go in those positions if we don't sort of constantly build power to protect. Recognize accountability and protection have to go hand in hand.
That's right.
When someone does the things that we want them to do, we have to champion it, not just so that they see it, but others who might not yet be there see that there is hope on the side of freedom. There's hope on the side of doing the right thing.
Agreed.
I know. Oh,
just really quickly, I just wanted to say, I think that's such important work, Rashad, because Republicans take a victory lap frequently on the First Step Act. That is at the federal level, and they are eroding what that did at the federal level. At the local levels, the First Step Act is called the First Step Act because there needs to be a second step and a third step and a fourth step. All those federal policies only apply to federal police,
and
not
over
local police.
And over 80 to 85% of people are prosecuted and are put behind bars at the local level.
Right.
So yes, we can win a lot of things at the federal level, and we should, but so much of this happens at the local level.
And parenthetically, just so that we keep some context of the national election, Donald Trump wants to give immunity to all law enforcement officers.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's be clear about the differences as well as this delves down.
But a black
into the
man who want to
positions.
know what the Biden administration has done, think about what it would mean for you to have a Donald Trump who wants to grant every law enforcement officer
immunity for whatever they do.
Immunity.
And let's be clear. They are not prosecuting crimes on Wall Street and on Capitol Hill. We're at the highest level. This is not about the kind of big systemic level crimes that they're putting people behind bars for that actually hurt people. They're attacking people for low-level crimes, one-on-one crimes, but the sort of big, high-level sort of crimes that fleece and steal our communities, that put us in harm's way, that steal people's paychecks, that make people unsafe, that steal people's health. Those things are not being prosecuted at the high level.
That's right.
Lenard was going to weigh in.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was thinking about something else earlier. You know, Tiff referenced a victory lap. And I thought that was such a good term because it feels like Democrats are already taking one. It feels like it's not enough energy going into energizing people to vote, registering people to vote. It feels like it's almost a coronation happening here, but the election is not a guarantee. So how do we make sure people are focused on actually voting over the next 80 days?
I would say everyone,
76.
If you didn't listen to Michelle Obama's speech last night, we should have it on repeat.
Word.
So good.
We should have it on repeat. It was one of the best, if not the best.
Do you think it should have been last? We've been talking about that.
She should have been the closer. Y'all know that.
Closer.
Easily. The audacity of President Obama.
Come on, Alphonso,
Well, I'll just say, I think it was the best national convention speech I've ever heard in my life.
So good.
Period.
But what about Barack Obama in 2000? What was that, 2006?
2004.
Oh, 2004. You're right. It's 2004.
Michelle had that one.
Opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you.
She bodied it. But, you know, we have to understand that this is going to be a fight over the next few weeks, over the next few months.
Yes.
This is great. We are mobilizing here. There are folks that are coming with the same vision and the same perspective. But when we leave the stadium, there are a lot of people who disagree with what's happening here.
That's right. That's right.
And so we have to be mindful about the work that we need to do.
Yeah.
As she said, we have to make sure we're standing up, we're doing the work. And for those who think that we've won this election, you just have to talk to people in your own family.
That's right.
And that's it. So we appreciate y'all so much.
He just said something that's real, though. An event like this energizes the opposition.
They're watching it.
That's right.
That's right. We also shouldn't be afraid of our own shadows. That we can stand in excitement and victory and enjoy about our nominee. But what people don't get to see at their home screens is what these delegates are doing during the day. I've been a delegate several times. They're in workshops.
That's right.
They're learning trainings. They're doing door-to-door training in the morning all the way up until they have to check in here in the afternoon. So I don't want folks to have the illusion that they are in any way drunk with joy and not sobered by the work that Leah
and
has.
speaking of, yes, and we're going to close out with Rashad. Speaking of the work, we all got to go do it. Rashad, we're going to close out with you.
I just want folks to join us over the next 76 days in doing voter contact work.
Yeah.
We are in Michigan, we are in North Carolina, we are in Pennsylvania, we are in Wisconsin. And so people, we are having a conversation, we are doing analysis, and if people want to know how to take action, join us at the Color of Change PAC.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing, volunteers will be reaching the voters who are not yet voted, not yet committed to vote, voters who may have skipped some elections, and we are going to be communicating, engaging, and so you can text the word commit to 55156. The word commit to 55156. I'm just all about action in this moment.
That's it?
Because we are talking a lot about everything that we need to do, and so I want to just demystify it for everyone. There's a lot of places you can go, not just Color of Change PAC, but I want to invite you that we have a tested, true, data-driven program that's going to be reaching voters, and we've proven over the years that we are able to turn voters out that don't regularly vote in elections through the power of people like you who are listening, who do want to get involved and who want to volunteer, and that's a way to engage.
Thank you so much, Rashad.
And Alphonso, where can people find out more information about your initiative as well?
I would say go to painttheposeblack.com, go to gbef.com. As Rashad said, there are many of us doing this work.
Yep.
You can go to a variety of organizations. We're going to have events over the next few months. For the first event, we had more than 200,000 people participate.
Wow.
Wonderful.
That's so good.
More work to come. Thank you all for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rashad.
Thank you, Alphonso. Thank you. Thank you, Rashad. Well, you all.
This is my first DNC convention. I didn't know this was so exhausting.
To say that.
This is so exhausting.
You're
Praise
exhausted.
Rashad.
This is Charlamagne's first convention. He
Love
said.
y'all. Thank you.
Because I was exhausted watching it Monday night. Right, because it stayed up so late, and then last night was good. You know, it was energizing.
Yes.
But then being here today, exhausted again. But still energized.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
but
feel
still
like
energized.
exhausted and energized at the same time.
Yes.
I do. I feel that too.
All
Yeah.
the time.
With a
I get
mild
that.
headache. You know,
After every one of our shows.
I promised Tiff and Andrew
You know, I've been looking the whole time.
a surprise, and I feel like I'm about to be ghosted, and I'm frustrated. But
tomorrow.
But maybe I don't know if I'm gonna run that thing back. But here's what I was gonna tell y'all. Tonight is a unique night. We've seen so much on the convention stage, including moments where you see passing of the proverbial torch from generation to generation. Right now, Bill Clinton is on the convention floor speaking. Tonight, we'll also hear from Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz.
Yeah.
I also just want to take a moment to acknowledge, in the midst of us being here, Congressman Bill Pascrell's passed away from New Jersey. So you also saw moments where they were recognizing him from the convention floor. I'd like to know what you all are looking forward to tonight.
Well, can I just say quickly, Angela, to bring you all in on the conversation, the inside conversation, she promised Andrew and me, she said, I have a surprise guest for you all at the end.
He's standing
I
us
pressed
up.
her, I said,
I'm going to air him out before we get off.
Let it be a dog. She said, it is not a dog. Get
A
the dog
dog?
off your mind. I love
She
dogs.
loves dogs.
I love
That's all
dogs.
she cares about.
Yes.
Strangers,
And so the whole
dogs.
time I've been looking out in this audience like, who is this? If one of my exes come up here, I'm about to walk off the stage.
I would not do you like that, girl.
Oh, wait, it's somebody I don't like.
And why
she
would
ain't
I
know
be
don't
excited
like
about that?
I don't.
I don't know.
So
I
disappointed.
don't know.
for both of us.
But I've been looking at everybody in the audience. I ain't seen this surprise. So.
Well, maybe you can just keep your eyes over here and talk to us
Okay.
about what you all are looking
I will
forward
just
to hearing from
focus
them.
on y'all.
Maybe a concern that you have about tonight. Is there anything?
Well, let Charlamagne. I want to hear
Yeah.
Charlamagne. What are you looking for?
I know he's concentrating, ain't he?
No,
Focus.
I was thinking about it. You know, I knew what I was looking for Monday night. I was looking forward to Hillary Clinton. I was looking forward to Jasmine Crockett. I knew what I was looking forward to Tuesday night. I was looking forward to the Obamas. Tonight, maybe Secretary P. But I'm really honestly thinking about tomorrow. I'm really thinking about tomorrow because I feel like just listening to the callers that have been calling into the Breakfast Club and the things that they've been saying, a lot of them feel like they haven't heard enough policy talk all week long. I feel like Bernie Sanders laid out some things that he wanted, the Harris administration to do if they get in. So I think tomorrow the VP really has to talk to the issues. We got the hope, right? We got all the hope we needed yesterday. Hope is great. Hope is like a light in darkness. Like gives us a little glimpse of light in darkness. And we definitely got the fear. We know the fear. We know what we're up against. But tomorrow she has to really come in here and just lay out policy. She has to speak to the issues. She has to speak to the people who, are barely keeping food on their table and a roof over their head. So that's what I'm really hoping that she nails the speech, especially being that she hasn't done any interviews, right, in the last few weeks. So all eyes are really, really going to be on her in a real way tomorrow. So she has to nail it because if she doesn't, she's going to get very scrutinized.
Well,
unjustly scrutinized.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to remind the viewers that campaign took off in a very not a non-traditional way, and it normally takes a campaign 2 to 3 months to pull together a policy plan. It has been, I think, a month today when she became the presidential candidate. She did enter the foray into policy with her economic address in North Carolina a few weeks ago, and she called for the expanding of the child tax credit, which we talked about. That includes a $6,000 credit for parents in the first year of a child's fire. She proposed $40 billion.
Andrew just waved his hands like it was church.
Y'all have heard because
so
Andrew
excited.
talked about this.
He got 3 kids.
Native Land Pod. She proposed $40 million tax incentive for new housing construction, and she endorsed a federal ban on price gouging. So this is the bit of policy we've heard from her. She does not have a policy plan on her website just yet, but I think to your point, Charlamagne, that she will talk about that. Yeah,
well,
please.
To add to what you've already laid out, so she did a special speech around the economy, and that speech helped to close the gap between she and Donald Trump around credibility. Who do you trust more on the economy? That was crucial.
And what's his policy plan? That's the other
nobody's
question.
asking. Nobody's
tax
asking.
cuts.
Nobody's asking.
For his friends.
Tax cuts.
But the other thing, it's important for
the
those
rich.
who are not as familiar with the Democratic Convention and what happens here is that there is a policy agenda that must be approved by the convention that states what the administration's goals must be moving forward.
Oh, Reverend
from
Jackson
this
just went
place.
by.
So and this thing is chock full. If you can think of an issue, there is a policy prescript that is coming out of this convention that is intended to address it. Now, she won't be able to parade all over the country giving policy speeches every day because the truth is that voters want to know her better. They don't know her. In fact, the big criticism is that she's been hidden in the closet for 2 or 3 of the 4 years.
Which is not true.
Well, but to the person who has limited line of sight
Who doesn't follow
and
this, who doesn't consume this all the time.
they haven't seen.
They haven't put her up.
For sure. So I actually think policy, yes, she will need to talk about some big ideas.
Yeah.
Big ideas. I don't want to hear the policy prescript. I want to hear the big ideas. The other thing that she's got to do is I think she has to demystify and get in front of what we can expect over these next few weeks, which are going to be a whole bunch of lies, untruths, mistruths, half-truths about who she is. They've already begun that on Walls.
Yeah.
Going after his IVF. He used the wrong terminology. Going after his military service. Where's yours, Trump?
Right.
Bone spur?
Right. Exactly.
Where's yours? But so I think she's got to get in front of that, and this will be the largest stage of audience eyes that she will have between now and Election Day.
Yeah.
This night, tomorrow night. And I think that it would be a loss, it would be a fail if she got up there and talked policy prescript all night.
You know,
I think she has to get big ideas and introduce herself in a way that makes people comfortable with looking at her for the next 4 years as our president and commander-in-chief.
And the best way for her to do that is for her to rest in her own, the comfort of her own being, like knowing who she is and being comfortable with being Kamala in front of everyone. I think one of the things we talk about ad nauseum is the Kamala Harris that we know is so dope and so cool and so chill. I love, even yesterday we talked about some of our highlights from last night, but I forgot to say this about Doug Emhoff. He talked about the one thing he knows about Kamala Harris is she will never stop fighting for us. She does it on a micro level. She does it in conversations one-on-one. When my mom got diagnosed with cancer, Kamala Harris was the first phone call. When we got the podcast, when we announced the podcast, Kamala Harris was one of the first phone calls. She is one of the most genuine, caring people, and I think that this nation is starving for that.
I kept a voicemail from her on my first show. She called. Angela knows I'm horrible on my phone. I didn't miss a call from the vice president twice because I didn't answer the phone, and I kept a voicemail because she was just saying, "Brava, Tiffany. I'm so proud. I love the show. I watched the show." So she is. When you meet her one-on-one, she's a regular person.
Sure.
You just adore her. It's like, I get why you say you're my girl, and I think what the country is going to have to get used to, what they're going to learn, is black women. It's a duality of our kind.
Yeah.
We can sit on a national stage and talk policy, domestic policy. We can kill you on the spades table. She can kill it in a stroll line on the campus. I know you do dominoes. You throw bones. She can kill it in a stroll line on Howard University's campus with the AKAs. She can smile in your face and be saying F you at the same time.
That's right.
We've always had to be
making collard greens.
And we don't need America to receive all of that, right? But we do
Well,
need
they're
them
gonna
to
have
see.
They
to.
will.
They're going to.
To Andrew's point, if she shows up tomorrow and she's just herself and she is, showing her person, all of that's going to show up regardless. Because none of this stuff that she's saying is new if you've been following her. She's been talking about rebuilding the middle class. She's been talking about wanting everybody to have the opportunity to own a business, opportunity to own a home. She's been talking about putting money, in the more working class people's pockets. So if she just shows up and be herself tomorrow, I think we're in for a treat.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, we are almost to the end of our show, and I'm still counting on my special guest to show up.
I am so, you got me nervous.
You been up here killing time?
No, I'm not killing time.
We got plenty to talk about.
We definitely do. What you got, Tiff?
Well, I want to tell Charlamagne what happened to our friend the other day.
No, we ain't
Which friend?
Not
What
until we are off federalized grounds.
We have to.
We got a story.
We're gonna tell you when we are there. But
we got a story for y'all later.
Congresswoman Lucy McBath is walking by. You all know. Hi, how are you?
Hi. You all know.
We love you.
We love you, Congresswoman.
We love you.
You want to come say hi to the Native Land fam? You don't have to.
She's like, she gotta go.
She got business.
He said he needs a picture.
Oh, he wants to come up here and take a picture.
Oh, okay. You done open the floodgates now because the people gonna. It's just a baby. Oh, he's so handsome.
Let him take him. He wants to take a picture with
the nurse taking his headphones off. We are not done yet. Tiff, you were saying that you wanted to talk about something. I hope it wasn't just that.
I will table the story. I want to tell our viewers when we leave Chicago, we do have a story to tell you that happened to our friend, but I will table it.
But there's a whole convention happening with the whole robust agenda, including Nancy Pelosi, who's up speaking right now. It got to be something else.
Yeah, President Bill Clinton spoke right before her.
Yes, he did.
Well, here's the question. Here's the question I have for you all. Some people say that former President Bill Clinton, because of his complicated history, not complicated, let me not say it's not complicated, because of his history, he is somewhat of an anachronism here at the convention because of what happened with Monica Lewinsky. And when we're looking at him in 2024,
pales in comparison to what Donald Trump got going on.
Sure.
Pales in comparison.
But if we're only going to compare ourselves to the lowest common denominator, what does that say about the Democratic Party?
They're not in the same category.
You don't think? Yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
But do you all have? I don't have an issue with him speaking. I think if you can look at my personal life and have something to say. Is this my surprise?
No. How you doing? Good to see you.
Redemption.
How are you?
Redemption look like?
We're just saying hi.
What is redemption?
Yes.
Well, I mean that legit. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Charlamagne. Like, when do we get to stop judging people forever by their worst day?
Yeah, I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping off Bill Clinton getting some head in the White House. That happened. It happened a long time ago.
I know, but I just was. I'm sorry.
That's between him. That's between him and Hillary. If Hillary's forgiving him, who are we to sit around and be like, oh, he shouldn't be on, the stage in 2024?
But was that the extent of the issues?
I don't know.
Well, there were multiple issues. No need to revisit it. It was 20, but y'all
private,
know
consenting adults.
She was a young adult.
No. When you said other things, I'm sorry, I'm off for her.
Well,
you said
Paula
there were other
Jones,
situations. I get it, but
I don't have an opinion about it. I just threw it out there.
As a question. I guess my bigger issue, if I could be honest with y'all, is there hasn't been enough. We actually met a young man earlier who's one of the youngest delegates at DNC's from Oklahoma. His name was Antoine Jackson. I thought he was going.
Oh, no.
What'd I do?
No.
I don't know what. Oh, no.
That was a great segue, though, by the way.
Antoine, it was. I was not bringing it. But I was just saying that what my bigger issue is the fact that there hasn't been as much, I think, since Monday. Intergenerational. I want to see more young folks.
That's what I was thinking just now. Absolutely. I was like, why Bill Clinton didn't Nancy Pelosi? No. I'm like,
have some of the young people come in during that primetime moment. Jasmine Crockett was great. AOC was great. Keep that same energy. If they don't have big platforms yet, find the dopest person and create that platform like Barack Obama did. Right?
I said that before the convention even happened. We was talking about just the lineups, and I was saying to myself, this is the week that the Democrats should showcase that new generation, right? I want to see Governor Whitmer, Governor Shapiro, Governor Westmore, Jasmine Crockett.
Governor Westmore spoke today, so that was.
Oh, I didn't even see him come up yet.
Yeah,
okay.
He was. Well, he was much earlier, but that's my point.
Secretary Pete, and
that's my point. Why was he so early?
That's right, and they don't even have them they weren't listed as prime time slots. When you saw the week of speakers, you was like, well, where they at?
That's exactly.
I don't even think Jasmine Crockett was on the lineup on Monday. She wasn't in the listing.
Yeah, she was.
She spoke. Yeah, but I didn't. She wasn't in the
when
listing.
you went to the schedule of speakers.
She was definitely in the lineup. I remember us talking about. But you may say an earlier version, maybe an earlier version.
Well, the earlier version, it came out the day of the convention.
Maybe he had one embargo, child. I don't know.
Oh, he is Charlamagne.
He paints.
This is a challenge, though, I do think, because as we expand the tent, there are a lot of Republicans who have come over to call Republicans for Kamala Harris. And I think we have to be vigilant. And as we expand the tent on this side of the divide, we have to hold this party accountable to us. Do not extend the platform that we help build and uphold the infrastructure of this country to then accommodate these never-Trumpers who created this predicament that we're in now. You cannot reward the people who helped to put this man in office, who changed their mind later, by ignoring the interests of the people who have danced with you since the beginning.
If that was what they did.
No, I'm not, but we haven't seen it yet. So I'm saying we have to continue to hold. Well, we don't know because we haven't seen the other side of what this election looks like. So once it's President Kamala Harris, we have to make sure this party does not start going out of their way to accommodate conservative Republican voters who they are consistently so excited to seduce to the side of the aisle.
I agree with you, Tiff. I think right now that's important to do only because you have a woman of color at the top of the ticket, and you still have not convinced those white people in the Midwest, that to go out there and support her yet.
Yeah, they got to convince them. I'm just saying once you get in office, don't be trying to turn this into a Republican light party.
But that's why we have an agenda coming out of this convention, which is signed, sealed, totally prepared by Democrats.
Andrew, I'm just going to have to eat crow real quick because as we're speaking, Latifah, who is running for Congress in Barbara Lee's old seat, literally Barbara Lee, who was passed a baton from Shirley Chisholm,
is speaking.
Latifah, who's running for, and why can't I think of her last name right now? Latifah Simon is running for Congress out of Oakland. She's speaking right now. So I just was criticizing that we're not seeing that intergenerational piece.
And
she's up right now. So my bad, y'all.
But this is after two institutional pieces, right? So it's like two older pieces.
But this is still dope. It's more in prime time now.
It's 9 o'clock.
I'm saying
it's on the East Coast.
We good, right? This is, and we like her. Like she came up and she's hilarious. She's so dope, really smart. Shout out to our girl AG. This is one of Alicia Garza's besties too. So
did Oprah come out yet? I heard Oprah was supposed to speak tonight.
I think you just broke some news.
Was that the surprise?
Oprah
did you get Oprah to come on the show, Angela?
Oh, maybe I made that up then. I thought
I think you just broke some news on the show.
No, I didn't break news. I saw that on CNN's website earlier.
Oh, okay.
That
I
Oprah was supposed to be.
Was
I
that
didn't
the
see
surprise,
it.
Angela?
No, girl.
Okay.
And it wasn't a dog. But I'm gonna tell you what, the surprise didn't come. But here's what we do know. Tomorrow we'll be back. It will be day 4 of the Democratic National Convention, and we will be joined by some phenomenal guests, and we will be so excited to hear from Madam Vice President Kamala Harris and see what her plans are for the country as we move forward. Y'all, it is 76 days until the election. Welcome home, y'all. And what do y'all say? You be saying, what do you say?
Oprah is speaking tonight.
Yo. You want to do that at the end? Because this is Breakfast Club, too. We say welcome home. You want to say yo.
No, I forgot how I closed the show. I'm tired. How do I close the show?
Well, you can close it in unanimity
with us. You want to say welcome home with us?
We're going home.
No, welcome home.
Welcome home.
You have to go to a suite, I think.
Welcome home, y'all.
Welcome home, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Thank you for joining the natives. Intentional with the info on all of the latest. Rye, Gillum, and Cross connected to the statements that you leave on our socials. Thank you sincerely for the patience. Reason for your choice is clear. We're so grateful. Took the oath to execute roles. Yeah, thankful. Preserve, defend, and protect the truth, even if painful. Welcome home to all of the natives. We thank you.
Welcome home, y'all.
What's
Welcome
up,
home.
sis?
Oh, excellent.